So whenever you see a color code from green to blue, it means normal. Okay, otherwise it's abnormal. And furthermore, you will see the rhythms will be synchronized for the EMG and CMG, not for the SCI rats. So I'm going to go rather quickly to the next, because the reasons we have found out was 8 Hertz in the fractal dimension has to be below or under 1.5 in order to have efficient voiding, and you don't have that in these synergic SCI rats. And on the contrary, in the urine storage, we have found the parasympathetic and sympathetic actually have to be cooperative rather than mutually inhibitory. And this is proved, but I'm not going to have time to prove that, because if it's one or the other, then the magnitude of fractal dimension has to be near the corner of the diagonal, not uniformly distributed. The magnitude is uniformly distributed for both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So I'm going to go to the next one. Okay, I'm not going to concentrate too much on this one. I'm running out of time. And I'm going to go to the elbow flexion and forearm pronation. Actually, the 5 muscle groups for the elbow flexion is BBSH, the biceps, triceps, and the brachialis. And for the forearm pronation, we're going to have not just the biceps, triceps, but also brachialis and brachioradialis and pronator talus. And we see nothing but the synergic coagulation. You can see that the strength has been emphasized for all 5 channels, and also the frequencies are synchronized. And the control experience you don't see much, but for the forearm pronation, there are 6 muscle groups, and you can also see that from green to blue, the amplitude has been emphasized, have been strengthened, and also the frequencies have all been synchronized. So we have to propose the first challenge to reciprocal inhibition. So far, we have only seen synergic coagulation or cooperative coagulations, but nothing like antagonism or mutual inhibition in our experiments. Now, comes to the acupuncture, we have 12 channels for EEG, and 1 channel for the radial arterial pulse, and 1 channel for the ECG. And this ECG, we will extract the RR interval. Okay. We will extract RR interval, and the P wave for the radial arterial pulse will correspond roughly to the systolic pressure, and A will correspond to diastolic, and DOB will correspond to the peripheral compliance and resistance. And you will see this is the control experiment, so nothing much has changed. But this is the case when manual acupuncture and PC6, you will see that blood pressure, high blood pressure will rise, and low blood pressure will reduce a little bit, but add a NP divided by 2. That's your mean blood pressure. Mean blood pressure can rise. It can also fall, okay, right here. Notice that this is the first 10 minutes, and from this graph to the other one takes only 10 to 20 seconds after insertion of the acupuncture, and the mean blood pressure drops almost immediately. And this last figure is withdrawal of the needle for another 10 minutes. So this is 10 minutes, 30 minutes record, 10 minutes. This is before, during, and after. And this is the low frequency and high frequency power in the HRV, and it has also changed. So we know autonomic nervous system has also come into play. And it's interesting that if you look at the acupuncture, not the Shyang control, but this is before. Please concentrate on the alpha band. This is before. And right when you have inserted the needle, you will see the synchronization of the alpha band. And this is 30 minutes, and even after the withdrawal. So let's take another look. It's very important to see that all 12 channels, this is before, this is inserting, and after. And we see that frequency has been synchronized from 8.3 to 8.2, and finally to 8.08. So we have to come up with a model that can explain this, and can also explain why the frequency decreases, and also why the blood pressure will also increase or decrease. And this is the amplitude of the EEG, and this is the This is done through EEG lab. Every test, 10 seconds, we have a picture. This is before acupuncture, and this is during or after. Let's look at it again. This is before, this is after, immediately. And you can see that this happened for all 12 channels. Before, during, and after, the amplitudes were increased. So here comes the effects of acupuncture, that we can see that it has already modified blood pressure, HRV, and the EEG in seconds. And brain function seems to be more like to be hologramic rather than marginally low organized or compartmentalized, because this is only affects the somatosensory area. How come the whole brain has changed? And moreover, it seems to me that brain function likely to be electromagnetic and less likely to be of biochemical or endocrine origins, because electromagnetic can happen within seconds, biochemical maybe within minutes or hours, and endocrine will take days or even months. So they have different time scales. So to explain the effects of acupuncture, we have to ask two key questions. What are the meridians? And number two, how does it work? It turns out, if we look at Gray's Anatomy, book 39th edition, you will see that here's the median nerve. Every time if you have a main artery, you have two satellite bands that go with it and with the major nerve enclosed in a connective tissue. So actually, we have proposed the following. Meridians actually below and the elbow and the knees are actually the neurovascular bundles. Arteries and motor nerves are centrifugal. Satellite bands and central nerves are actually centripetal. So they are not just electrically neutral, but also magnetically neutral when you detect it. So it's actually will not be revealed if you use the anatomy, because the person has been dead, then there's no blood flow, no nervous signals, you will not be able to detect meridians. And next question is, vascular vessels, everybody agrees that it has R, L, C, and G. However, in Hodgkin and Huxley's theory, there's no place for inductance. Okay? And if you look at the cortex, the acoustic cortex, this is the visual cortex from Schaefer's book. This is actually the acoustic cortex. If you use Cahal and a gorgeous standard method, you will see something like a few neurons and the synapses. If I have space, I should put it right here, to the left. This is by Nisel's method. And same place, the same acoustic cortex. If you use Weiger-Powell's method, you will see these cables everywhere, even in the cortex. So this is the von Hagen's body words. Everybody knows that this is the white matter, the fibers, but also even the cortex. We have just seen the fibers. So one more thing, Kenneth Cole's book, Membranes, Lines, and Impulses, have very important information there. Giant squid axon actually have inductive impedances. And this is the picture that at low frequencies that you have, okay, x-axis is the resistance, the y-axis, the upper half is the capacitance, the lower half is actually the inductance. So it was inductive in the beginning at low frequency. When frequency increases, you will become more capacitive. Okay, this is the picture that we will use to explain almost all the phenomena we have just seen. Okay, so I'm going to answer the first question. It's neurovascular bundles, and we have to take into account the R, L, G, and C. And we are going to use transmission line and complex communication networks to explain the phenomena. Here it is. It's in my review paper, and I won't have time to go over it, but I will use it later to explain my effects.